Hello children, this is Veenu Murjani again with chemistry. Last time we had started basic concepts of chemistry. We had studied what is matter, what are the properties of particles of matter, and we have verified with the help of different activities. I had also started classification of matter, in which I had started physical classification, in which I told you there are 5 states, 5 physical states: solid, liquid, gases, Bohr-Einstein, condensate and plasma. We were studying in detail solid, liquids and gases in comparison way. I told you that shape and volume of solid is definite, and liquid have the shape indefinite but volume definite. I discussed that it takes the shape of the vessel in which it is poured or placed. Gases have neither shape definite nor volume definite. Similarly, I spoke about force of attraction, that the force of attraction between the particles of a matter is called as interparticle force of attraction. If particles are atoms, then it is called as interatomic force of attraction, or if it is particle is molecule, then intermolecular force of attraction. Now generally we call it interparticle force of attraction. It's strongest in solids. It is weaker than solids but stronger than gases, that is intermediate. It is neither so very strong nor so weak that the particles can be separated out or compressed. Now here this gases have negligible force of attraction. We spoke about the interparticle spaces. These interparticle spaces negligible in solids, and in liquids it is there are spaces in which the particles though have the stronger force, yet the force is weaker, that's why they have spaces. And there is no force of attraction, the particles are away from each other. They accommodate whatever space is available because force of attraction is not there, so larger spaces are there. So now just I want to say about their properties. Solids have definite shape and volume because force of attraction is the strongest and negligible space is there. Liquids have indefinite volume and indefinite shape and definite volume. Because the force of attraction definite is because the force of attraction is not very less, but they have spaces in between them. So because of that the particles can change their position and this fluctuate their shape. So they can be poured in the vessel and they acquire the shape of that particular vessel. We have seen gases have no force of attraction, though, so they move apart, far away from each other, and there we will find that they accommodate whole space whatever is. This is just recap of your last lecture. Now we'll be talking about whether they are compressible or not, that is effect of pressure on them. If we see solids cannot be compressed. If see this table, suppose this pen is there, can I compress? Whatever force I am applying on it, what is pressure? Force applied per unit area. So when I apply force over this pen, I can't change its shape and size until and unless the force is not more than what is required. So we'll see that normally it is not going to be broken away. Or if we see liquid, so so here solids can't be compressed. We cannot. What is compression? When we apply a force on some body, it just changes its shape or size. So because of this change in shape or size, we'll find that pressure effect is there. So effect of pressure is not there, that means incompressible. So solids are incompressible. Liquids can also not be compressed. If you try to apply force or pressure over the surface of liquid, liquid cannot be compressed. Its size cannot be decreased. So incompressible. If we see these gases, so gases can be compressed. Gases can be compressed. Effect, there is negligible force of attraction or negligible spaces, so there is negligible effect of pressure. So even negligible what? No effect. So they are incompressible. What solids? Liquids are incompressible. Those spaces are there, but force between the particles is a stronger one. So we will find we can't press the atoms or molecules of a liquid. Similarly, gases can be pressed. You might have seen the example of balloon. If balloon without air is deflated, when you fill it with air, that means you are compressing the air inside, you will find that it changes its shape. So air can be compressed inside the balloon and it inflates. Similarly, when you are using a cycle pump to fill the tire tube of cycle, you find that it gets inflated. So tire tube shape is changed. So gas or air can be compressed in a cylinder, in a tire tube, in a balloon. So effect of pressure is higher on gases. So they are compressible, they can be easily compressed. Now one point to be noted, that among solids only one substance is there which can be compressed, that is a sponge. Because sponge particles have the holes or pores in it in which air is filled. When we press, we will find that air comes out. This all things we already had studied in 9th class, which are being repeated here. We'll see now next property, effect of pressure we had already seen. Now we'll see the next property, that's the diffusion. Negligible diffusion takes place in solids. In solids, negligible diffusion is there. In liquids, quite diffusion takes place, a large extent of diffusion takes place. So diffusion here takes place. In gases also diffusion takes place. Why it is so? Because here particles are closer to each other. So diffusion is what? Intermixing of the particles of two or more substances, two or more metals. So when intermixing of particle will take place only when the substances have spaces in between them. Since space is negligible, so diffusion is also negligible. Here we will find that hardly one or two examples are there where we find a diffusion. For example, board. You might have seen that something is written on board a little before, and after little time or after some time we'll find that though after rubbing the board we find the letters are visible to us, the lines are visible to us, or whatever is drawn over it, it is visible to us. Why it is visible? Because the chalk is getting diffused in the board, but it is at very low extent. So diffusion doesn't take place, or negligible diffusion take place in solid. But in liquid, spaces are there. So if you pour 1 or 2 drop of ink or honey, or if you place some crystals of potassium permanganate in water, or if you use some food color in water, you will find it diffuses slowly, and after some time whole of the solution has the color of the mixed substance because of this diffusion. In gases we will find, if you are using deo or using perfume, you can Smell the fragrance of perfume a long way, or fragrance of flowers a long way. If you are applying in one corner of room, in another corner you can smell the fragrance of that perfume or deo or flowers. Or if you lit a incense stick, you will find a smoke particle that is visible to us. The smoke particles are diffusing in the air, and this diffusion takes place at a greater rate, and from its lower concentration of substance to higher concentration of substance. So that diffusion is at higher level in gases. We'll see next property, that is fluidity. What is fluidity? Fluidity, the tendency to flow. Tendency to flow. Have you seen any solid substance which can flow? Can this pen flow? Can this paper flow? No. Or the table on which you are you have kept your desktop or laptop, or the chair on which you are sitting, can these things flow? No, can't flow, because the particles are so intact with each other that they cannot change their position, they just can vibrate on their places. So they cannot move away, they cannot change their position. So fluidity is not there in solid. But in case of liquids, force is there, a stronger one, but yet there are spaces in between them. The particles can change their position. So we have seen water can flow, petrol can flow, oil can flow. So all these things can flow. So liquids flow. So they have tendency to flow. So there they have fluidity. हम कहते हैं ना नदी बहती है ना, हवा बहती है, तो जो बहती है that means what, they have the tendency to flow. So fluidity in gases is also there because of larger spaces and zero force of attraction between them. So we'll see that all these are the properties of solid, liquid and gases. We have seen that this solids examples are what? Solids examples we have seen that iron article or wooden piece or a table, chair, your desktop, monitor, your CPU, your mobile, wherever you are sitting, that place, everything is solid. Liquids, water, oil, petrol. Gases, oxygen, nitrogen. Air is the air comprises of many gases, carbon dioxide. So all these are the examples of solid, liquid and gas. Now we'll see the chemical, we'll see Bohr, Einstein and plasma a little later. Now we'll see the chemical classification of matter. What is the chemical classification of matter? Now chemical classification is depending on the chemical properties of the substances. Physical states that we have studied on the basis of physical properties, and chemical classification is on the basis of chemical properties. So we'll see that chemical classification, matter is categorized into pure substance and mixtures. Pure substances are further classified into elements and compounds. Mixtures are classified into homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. Elements are further classified into metals, non-metals, metalloids, Metalloids are also called as semi-metals. Compounds are classified into organic compounds and inorganic compounds. Homogeneous mixture they are also called as true solutions. And heterogeneous mixture, they are classified as colloids. We'll see a brief, already details we had studied in 9th class. So colloids, and another category is suspension. Now we'll see one by one what are pure substances. Pure substances. Now if we say that we are getting pure water from some water purifiers, so is it really pure? Pure water is having no substance in it. That water which is after we are getting water purifier, if it contains salts or minerals, then it is not pure. Pure water is what? Distilled water, where you will find that no other substance is there. No ions are present, no salts are dissolved in it. That will be the pure. So, can you say air a pure substance? No, air is a mixture. Air is not pure substance because it contains many gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, dust particles, argon. It also contains hydrogen. So we have number of constituents of air. So air is not also pure substance. We say that this is pure air. But pure substance in terms of science or chemistry will find that substance which is made up of one kind of particle. No other kind of particle is present. Like if I am telling air is a mixture, so if I am distilling out oxygen of the air, and that oxygen, if I am getting it separated from air, then that oxygen is pure substance because each and every particle is of oxygen only. If your water, distilled water, which you are using in your inverter battery, so that distilled water, inverter or automobile battery, that distilled water is what? That distilled water contains only water particles, no other substance dissolved in it. So we'll find that pure substance is made up of one kind of particles. So these particles can be atoms or can be molecules. Means if they are the atoms, then they will be, all the particles will be atoms. If the substance is having molecules, all the particles will be molecules. As I told you, talking about oxygen. So oxygen contains oxygen cylinder. If it is containing only oxygen, that means all the atoms are O, or O atoms are there. All the atoms are of oxygen. If I am talking about water, then it is molecule. It is molecule. So molecule is what? Here we will see that water, distilled water contains all the particles of water only, H2 only. What are molecules, atoms? A little later we are seeing. Just we have to understand that pure substance is made up of only one kind of particles, either atoms or molecules. If we are talking now, let us see what are elements. Elements, our older concept is there, a classical concept is there, that elements are those substances which cannot be broken further into a smaller substance, smaller particles. So it is not like this. You know that atom is no more indivisible. It contains fundamental particles, electron, proton and neutron. Apart from this, it also contains meson, positron, neutrino. So we find that concept is no more applicable now. Now what is the concept of elements? Elements are the substances made up of one kind of atoms. Elements are the substances made up of one kind of the atoms. Single kind of atoms are present. As I spoke about, a cylinder of oxygen contains all the atoms of oxygen only. If I am taking iron bar, that iron bar is containing all the particles made up of iron. If I am talking about a steel tube, then each and every particle will be, steel is a mixture, it's not a element. If I am talking about coal contains each and every particle carbon. Diamond, each and every particle carbon. Here pencil lead is made up of graphite, and graphite is having each and carbon is of carbon. No, each and atom is of carbon. So a substance which is having single kind of atoms in it, that is known as element. Now element, we will see that they are further classified into metals, non-metals and semi-metals. Now what are the metals? If we see metals and non-metals, I am taking together metals and non-metals. Metals have ductility. If properties I am writing here. Ductility. What is ductility? A substance which is, when pulled, it forms wire. It can be drawn into wire. So that property is known as ductility. So metals are ductile, but non-metals are not ductile. If we see another property, malleability. Malleability means if you are hammering some substance, then it turns into sheets. Sheets can be made out of the substances. So we'll find that non-metal is having no malleability, metals have malleability. These are the physical properties. Luster. Luster means surface is shiny. So metals have no luster, and non-metals have no luster, metals have shiny luster. As gold has golden luster, silver has shiny silver luster. But non-metals except iodine and graphite, these are exceptions which have luster. But non-metals, all the metals have luster. Normally non-metals don't have luster. Sonority. Sonority is what? When you beat it, it produces some sonorous sound. It produces some particular characteristic sound. So non-metals don't have sonority, metals have sonority. Conductivity. When you try to pass current, then if current is passed, they are good conductor. If it is not passed, then they are non-conductors. So non-metals don't have conductivity except graphite. Here exception is what? Graphite. And metals have good conductivity. Electricity, I am talking about conductivity of electricity. Now thermal conductivity. Thermal means heat, passage of heat, whether you can pass heat or not. So if you provide heat to the non-metals, they will heat up, or they may burn also, like coal burns, diamond burns. But here metals pass heat. That's why we use the metal vessels for cooking. Here no thermal conductivity. So this way we find metals are quite different from the non-metals. Now their chemical properties, like we had already studied, metal oxides are formed here. Here non-metal oxides are formed. Metal oxides are basic in nature. Metal oxides are basic in nature. Non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. So we have seen metal react with water, they form hydroxides. First they form metal oxide, then convert into hydroxides, which are alkali. But here, so those bases, those metal oxides which are soluble in water, they are metal hydroxides and they are alkali. Whereas non-metal oxides dissolve in water and they form acids, so they are acidic in nature. So many properties are there which can be studied to distinguish between metal and non-metal. Example, metal, iron, your copper, lead, these are metal. Non-metal, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. And one more thing, if we see the state, metals are always solid except mercury. If we see the state, so all metals are solid except mercury. Non-metals, all are, they may be solid, they may be liquid, they may be solid or gaseous, but only one is there which is liquid in nature, that is bromine. Now we'll see what are semi-metals. Semi-metals have the properties, semi-metals or metallites have the properties in between the two. Means their properties are intermediate between metal and non-metal. Intermediate properties between metal and non-metal. We'll see like boron, like silicon. One more thing there, they are semiconductors. Semiconductors are what? They do not conduct electricity in pure state, but if you mix some impurity, like your phosphorus is added to silicon, then it starts conducting. Normally silicon is in pure state is non-conducting, but if you mix up, dope it with phosphorus or arsenic, it starts conducting. So in impure state they start conducting. This is the very important properties, and that's why semiconductors like silicons are used in microchips, in electronic devices, in electrical appliances. It is having a wide use as semiconductor in electronic and electrical devices. So that's all for this lecture. We'll be seeing in our next lecture what are compounds.